So over the last day or two, Kerry and Giddens, you guys know the lady that does the prophecies and the whole nine jazz, yeah, decided to come and announce her divorce. But it's how she phrases her divorce or her separation and the things that she states inside there that she implicates God. She puts God. Hey, Jesus Christ. So we're going to go through the video. One particular one of those videos, she put out 2 videos. The second one just double downs on the idea. But on the first one, which we're going to watch right now, she is kind of like outlining what led to it and all that entire jazz. And so I'm going to do a little breakdown on this one. But I want to premise it around this idea. When a person is in error, they will do everything to get off correction. And that's exactly what we see with Kerry in this particular video that we're going to watch. It's the Rex Reality Show. We do daily Christian commentary videos. We do daily Christian commentary videos. If it's the first time over here, to be sure to check out some other videos that are down in the pinned comments, and I'm going to check you out over there. And so, without further without my P or I do, let's go over there and listen to what Kerry says over here.
Issues going on now. Yesterday, I need to find it. Yesterday, I've decided to change my Facebook profile from married to separated. All right, because I am separated, and if I have that profile to say, I'm married, well, I'm technically still married, to be honest, because the divorce has not come through. But anyways, my husband and I have decided, to separate. Well, he's decided to separate and go his separate way.
Okay, so Kerry says, my husband and I decided to go our separate ways. And then she corrects it and says, no, he decided. He decided to go his one way. Now, okay, no problem, Kerry. She says that it's the husband who did this. Right, no problem. So, she then goes down to explain whatnot and all that, the story of how it happened. You can go watch it on her video. On this video, I want to show this particular thing. It's very common when a person does not want to be corrected. How do they handle the Bible? Okay, so if you're on the video and you go down to roughly about 32 minutes, there's something she does in there. At 32 minutes, 11 seconds, Kerry says something I thought was worth listening to. Right here.
Right? So, this is where I am, brothers and sisters, I'm going through a separation right now at this moment in time. Just keep me in prayers, keep my children in prayers. All right, the Lord is good. He is still faithful, and he's still going to work it out. But I don't want people to come and judge, because there's a lot of judgment, on those posts. Oh, you're a prophetess. Oh, you're thinking about remarrying.
Okay. So when she says there's a lot of judgment, she's talking about when people announce marriages, there's a lot of judgment. Now, I'll ask Kerry. What about your video that you made about Marcus Rogers, which was exactly that? You were saying, why is he remarried? He has no place to be a pastor, blah, 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 and all that entire hodges. But when it comes to her, hold it off. She has a reason. She has a biblical reason. Basically, that's what she goes on to say. So,
and it's not like that. Because like I say, I'm using...
Okay, wait. So it's not about... She's not phrasing this in a way to get remarried. Okay.
So, you're a prophetess. Oh, you're thinking about remarrying. And it's not like that. Because like I say, I'm using St. Matthew chapter 19 and verse 9 as my tool and as my guide. And Ahaya is very, very clear. This is not anybody speaking. This is Ahaya speaking.
So right there, she blames the direction of remarriage on God. It is God who said. She said she quoted a verse. She quoted Matthew and so forth. Now, I thought that was quite an interesting one, that she blames God. But you remember, she will never have a dream or just say, what she would desire to happen in a situation. She always says God is the one that says. So what's the difference? It's not going to be any different. And so I thought that was quite an interesting one. She then goes to quote a verse.
He says that, when there is sexual immorality, when there is fornication, when adultery, whatever sexual immorality it may be, you can divorce that person and remarry, because he said it here, not me.
Okay, so what is she framing here? She mentions that she was not immoral, didn't do anything wrong. But the person that did the wrong is the husband. But if you watch the video, it's her who did something, and then it caused a little bit of a riffraff between her and her husband, and then that ended up with them just not understanding each other. But then here, when she phrases it around this, is that because he has moved out and is now with someone else, he committed adultery. So she can divorce him. Okay? So that's why in the beginning she says, me and my husband decided, and then she corrects herself and said, no, he. Hey, Kerry, no problem. Let's go back into the video.
You can do it, but it's got to be on the grounds of sexual immorality. Now, Paul in Corinthians talk about separation. That is different. Because you can live with your husband and your wife and you just don't get out. But then
she says, 1 Corinthians, it's not the same as divorce. Well, the 1 Corinthians verse that talks about separation, it's not divorce. The 1 Corinthians verse she's talking about, it's 1 Corinthians chapter number 7, verse 10 up until verse 28. That particular verse, what she's avoiding is that in that verse, Paul says, if a person separates from their spouse, the only way they are having any other marriage is by being reunited to their husband. So she says, no, that was a different situation. And then she puts her own scenario. She says, no, that's if the two of you are just always fighting. No, Paul doesn't make it about whether they are fighting. He says, you want to separate, this is the particular ground. Now, you have to watch my video if you want to hear my thoughts on the subject matter of divorce and stuff like that. I made an entire video, a live stream, where we kind of broke it, the entire thing down. Bazalwane, marriage is ketile. It's not like a dress you go into a shop, you pick, and then you can come and pick another one. You pick one dress. Personally, maybe that's my personal standard. If I got married and there was issues, I'm not getting remarried. That's me. Okay? Because I can't, by conscience, I can't justify that act. Me. Okay? Anybody else can do whatever they want. But if someone was to ask my advice, don't ask me. You want me to say contrary to the Bible. What's wrong with you? Otherwise, you end up with the place where Kerry is right now. She's looking for every way to kind of justify this act of hers.
There's no sexual immorality involved. You're not cheating and he is not cheating. You're just clashing all the time. In that case, you can separate, but you must not be remarried. Because if you do that, you're living in sin, because you have gone out of the biblical contents. Because on what grounds did you divorce on? Because you're only allowed to be divorced on sexual immorality.
Now, she made a second video where she was now talking about, you know what, when it comes to remarriages, God is going to give godly marriages. And the whole idea of what she's trying to phrase in that video is to justify her position. Bazalwane, when it comes to truth, stick to it. Even if it's against you. Don't twist it. Don't now want to cut corners or want to go around verses. You create a big problem, which is what Kerry is doing here. But hey, It's Kerry Ann. She's been saying all kinds of things. She's prophesied things that have not come to pass. She said one day Passion Java was gonna die. Passion Java is still here. She said, she said things that were not biblically so. But anyways, later on, okay, so that's a context around remarriage in First Corinthians, reuniting in marriage according to First Corinthians chapter number 7. She says that doesn't apply to her. For her, she is on the basis of it being that he committed this because he moved in with this woman. But bear in mind what she said in the beginning. Her and her husband, they decided to split. But for more contradictions, if you actually go back, all right? So right now we are at the 30 thing mark. If you go to 34, 33, this is what she says.
Proper living, right? So in my case, I can divorce him and I can remarry.
Notice that in her case, she can divorce him. So she's the one also initiating the divorce, according to what she said. In her case, she can divorce him. Okay, let's go back.
Living, brothers and proper living, right? So in my case, I can divorce him and I can remarry. So the Lord began to speak to my spirit, and the Lord said, all those thoughts that you had that you don't want nobody, you've been singing it for 4 years. For 4 years, I've shut myself off. I don't want no man. I don't want nobody. But that's not so.
Okay. Now, you see this point that she just mentioned here. It leads to a contradiction. She says for 4 years, she had contemplated that she's not going to remarry or anything like that. But she says God rebuked her, Hey, I'm a Kerry Ann. Okay, listen to this up until 17 minutes.
I say it's not good for man to be alone. And when you come to marriages, Ahaya wants kingdom marriages. He wants kingdom marriages, brothers and sisters. And
that kind of frames for her second video that she did after this, justifying that there will be people that will be separated. It's just weird.
Yeah, he wants kingdom marriages, right? And so I have to then begin to repent and say, Father, I didn't know. I said I didn't read St. Matthew 19 verse 9 properly. I just saw, if you divorce and remarry, you commit adultery. That is it. That was my tunnel vision. I didn't even read the part about fornication, sexual immorality, adultery. I didn't even read that part, Ahaya. The Lord began to say, your husband is living in adultery, so you have the right to divorce and remarry because...
So, according to Kerry Ann, God told her to get divorced. Hi, Kerry Ann. Hey, the things people blame God for. Hey, she literally just said, no, God said, your husband.
I said it in my word. But in this stage, I'm not rushing to look for a husband or anything like that. No way. If one comes, they come. I prayed about it. I said, Lord, if you want to give me one of your sons, but he's got to have your heart. Like, sinner man is a no-go. There's absolutely no way I'm going to take my good self up and date one of Satan's son. You're joking. Never.
Now, the reason why I'm laughing is because there's a Nigerian famous, there's a Jamaican famous video. Never been seen this before. If you know that video. So when Kerry Ann was saying never, it reminded me of that video, And so Kerry Ann's story is a bit twisted. But anyways, I'm not going to highlight everything. I'm not going to be able to highlight everything. There's just too much. But if you actually go back to 17 minutes, 17 minutes, let me see, 17 minutes, 20 seconds, there's something she says that leads to another contradiction.
Allow me to do. And when it comes to a mate, all right, a soulmate, your right hand, you are going to need somebody spiritually. It's no brainer. It's no if, buts, or maybes.
So this is a way of justifying that, she can be divorced or separated from someone who's not spiritually,
So it doesn't matter to me if that man has money, he's good looking, got nice car. Yeah, he may have go to church now and then. No, it's not going to cut it. If he can't drop on his knee and have a relationship with the Most High and yearn for a higher and have that personal relationship, then no if, buts, or maybes. All right, a soulmate, work that I'm doing and that the Lord is going to allow me to do. And when it comes to a mate,
wait just a second.
So no cinnamon, don't bother to come and say, oh, this and that, and because I'm not even going to entertain it. Because if I do that, I'm back to square one.
She says, don't bother. So it's almost as if she's expecting to be approached in the comment. But anyways, let me just leave that. I'm going to leave that alone. Now, if you go back to I think about 17 minutes or something like that. I think it's about 17, 20.
And sisters. Because so much was going on in my mind and I felt so low as a woman.
Wait just a second.
When all this thing was going on, brothers and sisters. Because so much was going on in my mind and I felt so low as a woman in my spirit and just horrible. And I know that the Lord has forgiven me and I've moved on from this guy.
Okay, so she's describing the thing that led to them having a little bit of an issue is that there was this guy that she became connected with spiritually. She says she was connected to this guy because he was praying for her. She claimed she never saw him, yet she met him on Facebook. He was trying to reach her and the whole nine quarters. They talked online. Okay, but she never saw him. Now, it's kind of weird the way she puts it. But if you actually go back to 16 minutes, 28 seconds.
Even though the Most High has forgiven you, it's hard. And so because of that reminder and stuff like that, I don't think he was able to truly move on and truly say, you know what, Kerry, I forgive you. I love you. Let's make this work. That didn't happen. It was just, you're wicked constantly. You've done that. You're evil. Until, he came to me. He's moved out the house. He's gone. He came to me the other day in the new year 2024 and he said to me, yeah, I'm living with whatever. So he's technically now living in adultery.
Okay, so this is what she was mentioning earlier on. It justifies for her. But notice, she says that this was early this year. Okay? This was early this year. In the whole video, she keeps mentioning that, she had come to this conclusion to live single for all these years. She says she had concluded this for the past 4 years, as a matter of fact. I think at 18 minutes 50 something seconds.
I divorce you, I'm going to get married to somebody else. All right, and have children and this and that and what have you. I said, that's fine. That's you. That's on you. You do what you want. But for me and for where I stand, I said, I'm not going to remarry. I said, that is not I cannot see myself getting with anybody else. Because number one, I don't want to go to hell. That's what I said to him. I said, I do not want to sin my soul because if divorced and remarried, you're going straight to the lake of fire, because that is what they taught. And I didn't have, I didn't have to read upon scriptures on marriages and divorce and remarriages, because I was already in a marriage and so on and so forth. So for 4 years, I've conditioned my mind. I don't want nobody. I said, Ahaya, don't even send me anybody when my husband divorces me and he's gone about his business. I want to remain single.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. So she says for 4 years, she had put it in her mind that she doesn't want anybody, she just wants to stay single for 4 years. But wait, you said your husband only came to you early this year, 2024. So this shows you that thing that she mentions in the beginning of the video when she says, yeah, me and my husband decided to get a divorce, is that it wasn't a him decision only. She had also decided to initiate her part in the divorce. But of course, she wants to point at the husband, but by blaming God. I'm Kerry. When Kerry said, remember that thing where she said South Africa has what? Hey, there is Jerusalem is in what? She just mentions places in Africa. I knew something is wrong with this lady's teachings. But this is what happens when a person does when they are avoiding correction. They foul up teaching. They will twist scripture. She twisted 1 Corinthians chapter number 7. She twisted that verse. She twisted God's message on divorce. She twisted the supposed idea of inspiration from the Holy Spirit. She twisted that up. She entangles herself in this, it was a spiritual relationship. They had a spiritual relationship. And I'm like, what is that? Why? All not to get corrected. You see, you couldn't say that, okay, no, she was wrong in doing that because she entangled spiritually. No, she wasn't married to her husband spiritually, according to her idea. When a person does not want to be corrected, this is what they do. Because there are people in the comment section that are agreeing with her, but there are people in the comment section that are telling her, hi, your message is not make sure. To go that far, to blaming God for what you decided. You literally say you decided it. He had decided to do this, so God said you can go ahead. So she blames God. It's the Rick's reality show with the daily Christian commentary videos. Bazalan, people, about me, God told me. God told me. As people, I carry and his words. It's Ricky. Tell me if you've seen the video. I just thought this was very funny, but it's pitiful at the same time. She will twist up and say she got a prophecy about this, she got a prophecy about this, she got a prophecy about this. No wonder she kept having funny, strange ideas about, if you do this in your relationship. She was advising people on how to handle themselves in their relationship beds and stuff like that. No, they mustn't do this if they do this. Can't you? And at that time, you have no concept of a... That's the line, please. It's Ricky, we're done here.